Ruth Oniang'o. I'm from Kenya. Went school in Kenya, USA, back in Kenya. I've worked all my life in Africa, based in Kenya all the time. My work has been to advocate for improved resources to ensure that we get back to food and nutrition security, and that our governments also understand why that should be their first challenge and most important task to address in Africa. And also making it known worldwide, even for the donor community, why Africa, for me, is the next frontier of development, and that they will need it, and so they cannot just ignore it. I got concerned when I started to see emaciated African children on television sets, in the press, as I traveled, people using it to fundraise, and it made me feel very sad and very unhappy for a continent which I believed was food rich. I realized that for most of African countries, not all of them, not all communities, that is mostly the women who produce food. And I said, how can women produce food for Africa when they have so many chores and so many responsibilities? And then I also realized the same women do not get extension information. Nobody pays attention to them. They don't have the resources. They don't have the manpower, the human resource, to work the fields that they have been left in. When structural adjustment came in the 80s, it actually started to advise African governments that agriculture didn't matter that much. And so our government started not to prioritize agriculture. And being someone who cares about food, I normally say food is the first medicine. Food first. You know, if you go hungry, you'll die sooner than if you go thirsty. And so extension service for me is the missing link. Extension was destroyed completely. And so in Africa, the only country that can boast of having an effective, functional extension system is Ethiopia. Ethiopia has about 76,000 extension workers. They are supported by the government. They are hired by the government. They have a very disciplined society. So extension workers don't go disappear and nobody knows where they are, because the repercussions are very severe. And they are just next to China, imagine. They are next to China. The rest of us, we have been going through transformations, Uganda included, Kenya included, many of the African countries, trying to see how they can have extension services without a proper public function of extension. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful for this continent. Someday Africa will be on top, because Africa is the richest continent still remaining in terms of natural resource. So what opportunities do we have? The opportunities are here now. There is focus on Africa, refocus, but I think healthy refocus. But Africans ourselves need to be in the driver's seat. We need a vibrant civil society. We have Africans, we have young people who see a future of Africa that they want to be proud of. And we want to encourage that. We should encourage our people to work hard and find opportunities for work for young people. And those opportunities exist within the agricultural value chain. I see those great opportunities. Yeah, and stop plundering our commodities. You know, for a long time we just export our commodities, only to buy them back at 10 times or 100 times the price. So it doesn't make sense. The lack of understanding by our governments as to what extension is all about. And I wish our leaders could just campaign, feed food first, agriculture first, feed our people first. Not that alone can get them into the Oval Office or into the State House, you know, without having to do much else, because everybody is concerned about this. But farmers, our farmers, smallholder, quarter of an acre, small pieces of land, majority of them, we expect them to feed us. Those are the voters as well, but they are the majority. So you go South Africa, smallholder farmer is 50 acres. You come to Uganda, East Africa, smallholder is point something. of an acre or of an hectare. It doesn't make sense. So they need to have information extended to them so that they are able to maximize output from the little they have. In many cases, that's all they have. We need to organize our farmers, because individually they cannot do anything. For training, the right technology, look at the value chain. Once they harvest, even for household, how do they store it? Grain does not store for as long as it used to. Climate change issues, which we are all confused about. It rains for a while, it disappears. What should we be planting? You know? Then linking them to markets for whatever they produce for sale for the family. So there's a lot to do in terms of extending. And we need extension workers who are rebranded, you know, because the issues now are so different. You know, ICT, the farmer expects you to have something about everything they ask about. You don't have to be the one to do it, but you should be able to connect them. The farmer shouldn't have to move from producing to doing other things. They should get that assistance. Yes, I see AFAAS playing that critical role. I see AFAAS doing advocacy at all levels, especially nationally and also at the Africa Union level, and also internationally at the donor level, raising the voice of the farmers, raising the need to extend, raising the need to make agriculture attractive, not just for those who toil away, the women, but the men, and attract young people, both men and women, to agriculture, to make it an enterprise, for them to show that they can actually make it a business without going to toil on the farm the way their grandparents used to do. The time for Africa is now, and we want to move away from the indignity of begging for food. We want to move away from seeing our children emaciated, being paraded all over the world on television sets. Because African children are beautiful, and we are in this together. So work with us, because someday Africa will feed the rest of the world. The extension workers, you know, they have persevered. Those extension workers, they work under very difficult circumstances. It's passion which makes them work. And so we commend them, we applaud them, and we want to assure them that if we advocate together, if we raise these issues together, they should be able to enjoy the work they have passion for. And so we just want to celebrate the extension workers who are still in service and who are keeping extension alive.